more than anything else, the importance of the community in every part of this, in the Manyatta, and all of the people who have hosted us, in the sense of the whole land, how important community is, strikes me so, especially coming from such an individualistic country. It feels so good. Let me also say, if that's okay, I was thinking last night about this after you told me you'd be interviewing, and how to make sense of this. About 35 years ago, my brother and I went backpacking at Mount Robeson, which is the highest peak in Canada. And we got up above the tree line to where the glaciers were. The glaciers were melting. It was very impressive. And little did we know 35 years ago about global warming or anything. The glaciers were retreating. Being here also, I have that same feeling, though, that I had, except we're much more aware of it, of what's happening to Maasai culture and to the community. You look out over the country and you see where land that was communal is now being fenced, where the wildlife is fenced out, except I sincerely hope that the strength of the Maasai culture can overcome some of the pain and loss that the modern world is inflicting. It's remarkably, we would say primitive. It's not primitive because it works here, but it's not like there's television or even that my phone works here. As a way of life, it is so different from what I've known, and I so appreciate that. I lived much of my adult life in Colorado, which is known for its mountains, but the eastern third of Colorado is the prairie, and it's about the same elevation, and it looks a lot like this, and it's occasionally as green as it is here right now too. This all feels very familiar, including the animals, including the relationship of the people to the animals and the love that they have for them, and the way they manage them. So, in fact, that felt well. It's the wisdom of local culture. You learn over the course of generations, of centuries, how to manage and be comfortable and thrive. And obviously, this way of life has thrived for a long time. I talked about community and how impressive the sense of community is, but it doesn't just hold among them. It holds with everybody else. I felt welcomed. We were welcomed when we arrived. We were welcomed everywhere we went, and it was very genuine. I knew that I would be taken care of for as long as I was in their range. So we drove a lot, and we drove over roads. Somebody asked me, is this like anything in America? And the answer is no. The roads were so terrible. Maybe in some wilderness areas, you might find some roads that were really that bad. So that was really quite an experience. I did fine, and then we were in a Land Cruiser, which is familiar to me. We got to several salt licks. The salt licks are places where people bring their livestock, of course, but where the wildlife used to congregate, and that's 10 years ago. People had been there and seen giraffes and elephants, and we did see a few zebras, but mostly we saw herders with goats, with some sheep, with cattle, and it was we saw many overgrazed fields, and it made me especially sad because where I lived for many years in Colorado at about the same elevation on the prairie, it wasn't the mountains, which is what Colorado is known for. It was on the prairie, and it's very similar. And like Colorado, we were really lucky to be here in one of those rare times when it was very green. Different breed of cattle, they look different, but it all felt very familiar. And I also could recognize overgrazed pasture, which made me very sad. All these fences everywhere. It looks like a losing strategy. I'm so glad that you people are involved in trying to halt this change or ameliorate it and let the range be free. let the animals and the herders be free. It's just for me, it's just part of the adventure. It makes me sad, knowing what a rich country it is, that it seems that so little gets to benefit the people here. But that's been true, since forever, since colonial times. Leader of all the Maasai in Kenya and Tanzania, wearing a high Rex fur, which is a great honor for him to put it on for us. I sat on his leather chair. He was on his haunches, sitting against a building. Small children were around. His son, who will inherit the throne, was there with him. He was drinking beer from Tanzania. He's about 80 years old. Had already had milk and meat for breakfast. It was amazing. First of all, it was a beautiful country. But what was most amazing about it is this is a man who is the leader, the revered leader of 2 million people in 2 different countries. And the place that we visited was so humble and at home. When we walked up there, he was sitting on the ground with his with his back against a wooden shed. I sat in the place of honor in a throne, which was a custom-made leather chair that he'd gotten from, I think, the King of the Netherlands. It was also simple, and there was so much reverence. I felt like I had landed in another world. But what I also understand about that is the job that the Maasai have done about preserving that area, that the forest there. I can't remember the name of it now, but the job that they have done without the government.
Loita forest.
The Loita forest. That was the word I was looking for. The job that they've done of preserving the Loita forest. It's a great place to see, as I started out saying in the first interview, the clash, the interdigitation of the modern world with the traditional world, and to understand how complex that border is and how there may be solutions that lie within there. But we just have to be open and be there to see it. And I'm so grateful for the opportunity to have done that. As you keep on saying in all your interviews, especially with the children today, we all have to act, we all have to be conscious, we all have to. I understand that more than ever. What does that mean? I'm going to do? I don't know at this stage of my life, but I understand things that feel, thanks to this experience, a little bit better. Yes. Let me tell you that I spent much of my adult life in eastern Colorado, which is cowboy country. It's cattle country. And of course the breeds are very, very different. Where I lived, Greeley, Colorado, was the first huge feedlot, which eventually grew to hold 100,000 cattle in the same place. To finish feeding them after they'd been grazing, they would be fed and then moved to the processing plants. And for me, what was so wonderful to see was, here's something accomplishing the very same purpose that I'd seen at the cattle auctions, with the feedlots and so on, in a completely different context, but it's all the same, and it's all about the same thing, and that was very much fun. And then we went from there to the general market, and again, everything's the same but different, or different but the same. Everything is still all about relationships, and you could see that. One thing that struck me at the cattle market, at the livestock market, was there were all these booths around the edge of it that had where there were people preparing food or tea or whatever, and the flaps were closed. There was no way to know what was going on inside, and there was no sign. Everybody knew what everything was, and that's community.
Karibuni.
Thank you.
Eh?
Karibu.
Welcome.
I was just thinking hard about that, and one of the things that most struck me was how Samson's grandson, as we were sitting and waiting to eat, he brought a ewer of water and a bowl, a basin, and poured water over each of our hands. It was such a lovely ceremony, and it showed so much respect. I had said to him, say, I'd like to see your house just because I wonder how he lives. And to a Maasai, that meant, let me get my wife to prepare a meal for 8 people. The hospitality is central to this community. It was a lovely meal. His wife is lovely. We met a little bit of the family. So different from the home of the brother of a friend of mine from Colorado, which is in a very lush place, and he's growing, rather than prairie, which is what I'm used to, it was like jungle, with all kinds of different fruits and things growing. I so appreciated that opportunity.
Today we are privileged to have some visitors joining us. They have been here for some time, and before we want to leave them, so they want to say hi to you. Is that okay?
First of all, you can hear them in the background here.
Yes.
And it's like music to my ears. I told you during the assembly that we had, where I was just sitting on this side, I cried. The children are so beautiful, and so unspoiled. Their whole lives are before them, and this seems to be a very, very good start for them. I've always loved children a lot, and so in all the times I've been around children, I catch the eye of a few, make a few faces, we wave at each other and so on, and it just fills my heart.
We are united and clear peoples, ever determine our mission. We pray for peace and clear peoples. We pray for teachers and parents. We are united and clear peoples, ever determine our mission. Quality, yes we can. Hard work, yes we can. Spiritual, yes we can. Our mission. Quality, yes we can. Hard work, yes we can. St. Clair, our patron.
They know so much. They're so aware. And you know, and if you look around here, I mean, this is kind of as rural as you get. We have cell phones now to connect us. The roads are terrible. They live in a world that's hard to connect, and yet they are so connected, and they understand so much, and that gives me hope. You know, I didn't come here especially for the animals.
Yeah.
In fact, one thing I noticed was when we were driving to the Loita, and I was going back over that day, I said, oh yeah, and we saw some wildebeest, and we saw some zebra, and there was a family of baboons by the side of the road. So I'm almost blasé about that. This place is so vibrant, there's so much going on. I'm glad I'm going to go to the Masai Mara and see more animals too. But the people, and that includes you too.
Thank you so much.
Including the guy behind the camera. Do you ever turn it on yourself so that you should? There you go. And you know, in the Maasai, and also my people's way, you always have a home. You always have a place.